Hey, Ash, can somebody tell me when it goes on? I think, I think we're on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear? It's got sound. There we go. Hey, it's 6 o'clock. Big surprise for him this week. We've got Miss Leanne Smith here. It's Wesley Smith's wife, and she's come to share her testimony. I have no idea what she's going to be talking about. I know a couple things that we'll get on, and God's right at the top of the list. As always, I want to thank, of course, Stan for letting us do this, and Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse. Listen, they don't pay me to do this, but these people are the ones who employ me, and they still allow me to do stuff like this because they know the answer, and they know the story that we need to get out. And we know this has been encouragement to a lot of people. And I always tell everybody, addiction affects more than just the addict. I think addiction is 10 times harder on the family than it is on the addict. And, we're getting some of those stories out. And I thank you all for tuning in and to listening to us. No surprise here. Emmanuel Baptist Church always shows up to support their people. And I just want to publicly thank them. Leanne didn't even know that her pastor and his wife was going to be here, but they showed up just to support her. And they showed up last week just to support Ashley. And I just want to encourage you all. If you want a church that will love you, I've seen a lot of love come from this church. I love them. I go to visit with them all the time, and I visit a lot of churches. But it's another place that I feel just like I'm at home. And these people are, well, they just don't get no better. And I just like to publicly thank them for always encouraging their people and for sticking behind their people. And they're sitting right over here. You won't even see them, but they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't even know about. So I just felt like I needed to thank their pastor for showing up and his wife for showing up and encouraging their people and loving on their people and teaching us how we need to act and the things that we need to do. And so, as always, my 2 minutes is up. And just pray for Leanne. Please encourage her. Leave a comment to encourage her that she can read tonight. And I'm going to get out of the way and let Miss Leanne come and share her story. As always, hey, I love every one of you. Are y'all still?
Okay, I'm really nervous. I've never shared my story with anybody. So just pray for me. I guess I'll start whenever me and Wesley first met. I always had heard that he had a history of drug use, but I didn't really know for sure. But I asked him, and I made myself clear in the beginning that I didn't want any part of that, and I didn't want that around my son. And he assured me that he didn't. He said he left that all behind. He was done with it. And so we went on for a while, and I would notice a few things here and there. There were times that he would come home and he just looked like maybe he was high, or sometimes money would just come up missing, and I would always confront him about it, and it would start a big fight. So it just kind of got easier for me just to leave it alone and not say anything until I actually caught him in the act. But we were together for several years before it actually got to where we needed to be. There were times that I would pick up my wallet and I would just have a gut feeling that all my money would be gone. And I wouldn't have any money left in my wallet. We couldn't pay any bills. And this went on for several years. Sometimes, our kids couldn't have any electronics because it would be gone. But it got really rough, and I remember I would try calling him, and he would never answer the phone. And he would just be gone all day, sometimes days at a time, and I wouldn't know where he was, what he was doing. But it was really hard. It was really hard on us. But it got worse whenever Wesley lost his dad in September. He lost his dad, and everything just hit rock bottom. It's like Wesley didn't care if I knew what he was doing. He didn't care. He would, I was afraid to come home because I was afraid that things would be missing. Like, I remember telling him to stay away, that he couldn't come back home. But whenever it all finally came out, I found out that he was supposed to be going to work one week. He told me he was leaving for work, and I found out that he was actually staying back and forth at his sister's house and his dad's house. And he, his sister called me and she said, Wesley has been taking money, and I just think you need to know that he's not at work. So I confronted him and I told him that I knew he wasn't at work, and I knew what was going on, and I told him I was done with him and I didn't want him to come back. And I always thought that I could change Wesley by telling him how sorry he was and that, what I needed from him. But the only thing that made a change whenever I finally broke down and I told Wesley, I prayed for God to give me the right words to say to him. And I told him that if he would go and get help, that I would stay with him and I'd be by his side the entire time. And he agreed that he would go to rehab. And this was a 9-month program, so I was scared to death. I had every emotion. I was scared, I was excited, but I feared because he was going to be gone for so long, and we had a 2-month-old son. I was afraid to let him go, but I knew that we had to do it, and I didn't know how I was going to make it, but God he made a way for us every time, and I was afraid I would struggle financially, but he went, and I had to let him go. But while he was gone, like I said, the Lord provided for us in every way possible. I had a friend that I worked with. She bought my son all of his school clothes that year. I had a stranger I didn't even know paid my electric bill whenever I wasn't able to. The Lord just placed people in my life to help get us through. And I had to pray for a lot of patience because he was gone for 9 months. So, it was really hard. But I prayed that the Lord would just give me patience and to help me stay strong and to help him stay strong. Because I can guarantee you, if I had gave up on Wesley, well, he wouldn't be here today. He wouldn't be here. So it was hard, but we made it. And since Wesley went to Texas and he got saved while he was there, and while he was in Texas, the Lord led me to Emmanuel Church. And after Wesley came home, I ended up accepting the Lord as my Savior, and I was able to get saved. My son has been saved. We're raising our kids in church. It's not been easy. It was really hard to get to where we are now, but you just got to keep praying. It was hard. If I could have given up on Wesley and washed my hands with him because he'd done so many dirty things to us, but if I had to remind myself that the Lord can forgive me for the things that I've done, I've got to forgive him and I've got to move on. But I don't mean to just kind of skip through all this. It's like I'm rushing through it, but I guess my main message that I want people to know is you can't give up on them. And if you're in a marriage that's struggling with addiction, forgiveness for me was the main thing that helped us. And being in church and just really living for God, because he's really worked on all of our family. I know I've probably forgot half the things I needed to say, but just bear with me because I'm really nervous. But I've done a lot of praying. If it wasn't, if I'd given up on him, like I said, he wouldn't be here today. we wouldn't have a success story to tell. And it was really hard. But like I said, the Lord made a way for us every time. My family didn't want for anything while Wesley was gone. We didn't struggle. The Lord placed people in my life to get us through those hard times. And it was hard to sit and think I could have been done a long time ago, but I thank God that I didn't, and that we are where we're at now. I didn't mean to really make this short, but I kind of just went blank. But I just pray for anybody who is struggling. I know how hard it is, and I'm here. It was hard for me because I didn't have anyone to talk to that had been through the same thing while Wesley was gone. A lot of people, when they found out that Wesley was gone to rehab, they said they would have never known that I struggled with that. But so if anyone needs any help, and I'm here to talk anytime, you can reach out to me and I'll help. The biggest thing for us was just prayer. God helped us through it, and He's continuing. He's doing a lot of good things in my family. And Wesley, he's changed into a completely different person. That's why it's kind of hard for me to tell all the bad things that's happened, because I put it behind us, and it's hard for me to think of him as that person anymore, because he's not that person. But I'm just thankful that God gave me the opportunity to actually share my story. I've never told anybody exactly what all we went through. But He's brought us through it. He brought us out of a rut that we were in, and I'm just thankful for that. But I love you guys, and thank you for letting me share my story. I'm going to turn it back over to Brother Randy.
Amen. How about that? I think it's amazing when she said she was trying to think of a lot of the bad things he had done. She couldn't even think of them, couldn't even remember them. I think it's so amazing. God can do that. God says He can restore the years that the locusts have eaten. God can give us everything that we've either give away ourselves or other people have taken for us. God can fix all that. But she stuck with Him, and here they are today. What a blessing to see this family and to see where they're headed. Wesley was ordained in as a deacon over at Emmanuel Baptist Church. And of course, just like with a pastor and his wife, a deacon's wife has some jobs that she does too. And I know both of these people have been wiring it out for God since then. And listen, I just want you to know I love every one of you. We thank you for tuning in. Don't know who we'll have next week. I think I got a good idea, but I forgot to ask them to make double sure that they would be on next week. And I think it's kind of fun that way, just leave it in the wind and see who's showing up. So, hey, we thank every one of you for tuning in. Love every one of you. Hey, reach out and encourage somebody today. Reach out and think of somebody that somebody probably hasn't talked to, somebody hasn't called. Reach out and encourage them. Invite them to church. If you ain't in church, hey, find you a church. I know Emmanuel would love to have you. Hey, tell them I sent you, and Ricky will give you a sucker. So, hey, I love every one of you. So y'all have a good night.